It was in May 2008 on a Friday evening. I was lying on the couch, surfing the internet. As usual, I was looking for cars, but not with any real intention to buy. Well, and then suddenly, there it was. Three months later, the Speedster was in my garage. Of course, it wasn't ready right away. We had to work on it for quite a long time until it was ready to go on the road again. But at some point, it was ready. It was running again. That would have been it then, actually. But what kept me busy was a question: who is this man whose name is on my car, and would he perhaps still be alive? And what is his story? In 2012, 4 years later, I had received a sign of life from Ed. So I set off spontaneously to Philadelphia. From there, I wanted to go in search of Ed, his fellow racers, and perhaps the past. The first stop on my trip was supposed to be the annual Porsche swap meet in Hershey. I had been tipped off that there would be a lot of old racing veterans from the 50s, 60s and 70s hanging around. And it didn't take long at all, and I was standing in front of a man with a German name, Heinz Werner Bade. Born in Hanover, he worked as a prisoner of war for the British in Wolfsburg and went to the USA after the war. He had a lot of stories to tell, and he knew just about everyone from the racing scene of the 50s, 60s and 70s. Turns out, he was a mechanic for legendary Porsche driver Bruce Jennings, King Carrera. Not much later, I was standing in front of a man again. His name was Steve Limbert.
Yes, I believe this car was owned by Ed Parlett.
Yeah, you're right.
Bingo! I know the car. And then an airplane pilot owned the car.
Yeah, and I'm looking for this airplane pilot. Yeah.
He lives in Bucks County. I know it.
Pretty cool. You go to such a swap meet without any plan and show a guy a photo of your car and bang! He recognizes it and tells you the name. Ed Parlett, 40 years later. And he even remembers the man who bought the car back then.
I knew Ed's mechanic very well, Dick Merriman.
Yeah. Oh, you knew him?
Yeah, sure. That's what got me interested in it. He's the one that called me about the car. That's the reason I was pleased. The only thing that pleased me about this whole thing is that car was restored to what it was, the race car, and not a street car. In that condition, I mean, so you were hard-pressed to find a rust spot anywhere on that car.
By the way, not every one of his cars was lucky enough to be saved. A day later, we came to Bruce Baker in Philadelphia. Bruce was a young mechanic at the time and earned extra money on race weekends working for Roger Penske.
Can you reverse that to where that car was coming off the trailer?
Yeah.
He also dealt in cars on the side.
Oh, wait, that's the same car, right?
And so it came to pass that he bought the orange Speedster from Dick Scarborough at the end of the 1969 season and passed it on to Ed Parlett.
That's Ed Parlett.
That's Ed Parlett.
Yeah. Wow. A young boy would change. He looked taller.
Arriving at address 8478 on left.
And my mother had seen an ad in the paper for this funny looking little car called a Porsche. It was my very first car of all time, and I was so fascinated with everything. It was just absolute magic to me. Third place, second place, first place, and the rest are thrown away.
I had done it. The man behind the name on my car really exists. I was at the finish line. Now, of course, I was unstoppable, and Ed was ready to round up his old fellows for us. They also had not seen each other for more than 10 years.
Hello, Nigel.
Hi.
Rob.
We're finally here. You gonna close the garage door?
We're going to go in and they're going to the front door. And we'll meet them there.
Okay, come on in.
Thank you.
I didn't think I was gonna make it. It's a bag.
That's called salesmanship.
That was real carry-on in those
That
days.
was scary.
Okay.
Where
You are.
Pounds worth.
Nobody get up. I'm not really getting up for it.
Nigel, good one.
Good to see you, Nigel.
Rob Laurel here. How are you?
Rob.
Hi Ray, I'm Ron from Hamburg.
That's Ron is the new owner of the car.
But Ed is very important in my life. And I guess we met at the Mark Donahue School at Lime Rock, where we really met.
It definitely was Lime Rock.
And I think we went fender to fender for the entire race, and he beat me.
Blackhawk Farms, Don Wester, you guys don't know, and Bruce Jennings, smoking a cigarette.
Oh my God. Woo.
Yeah.
That's bad.
He smoked a lot.
He smoked himself to death.
Yes, he did.
Yep,
But he had a gorgeous girlfriend.
put an S on the end.
Which one?
You have more girlfriends, you can take a cigarette.
I used to have my glasses on. Now I can see.
Yeah, well, this is 65 or something.
But I still have a Porsche.
And this is the place where I came to my very first race. I think this place closed shortly after I stopped racing, so I think I still hold the lap record.
Eight months later, I received a message from Ed's wife, Bobby. Ed had lost his last competition. He died of cancer on the 8th of October 2012. I'm glad I had the chance to meet him, and I learned something. Don't hesitate when you have a dream.